if your child was labeled with a tic disorder or Tourette's, and you walked out of that appointment feeling like something doesn't add up, you're not wrong. You know what I'm talking about. That gut feeling, that mama instinct screaming at you that there's more to this story than the doctor's explanation. And that the explanation was somehow incomplete. Something is missing. I see you. I have worked with hundreds of families just like yours and mine. And what I'm about to share with you might just change everything you thought you knew about your child's diagnosis. Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Piper Gibson, PhD, and I am a mama who has been in your shoes. My son was diagnosed with a transient neurological tic over 14 years ago. And when the conventional approach completely failed us, I went back to school to relearn everything I thought I knew about health and wellness. And now I help scared, frustrated, overwhelmed parents just like you and just like me get access to the tools, testing, and resources they need in order to start reversing their child's tic disorder symptoms naturally. So today we are talking about, is it really tics and Tourette's or is it something else? Most parents are told exactly what you've probably been told. There's nothing you can do. It's neurological. It's genetic. It's just the way they are. Ignore it and hopefully they'll grow out of it. And if they don't, we'll give you a prescription or some variation of that. You may have also heard your child has a brain disorder and you'll need to learn to manage it. Here's a prescription. Come back in 3 months. But here's what they don't tell you. And honestly, what most doctors don't even know yet because they are not reading the research that I am reading. And after a decade of looking at thousands of lab results, after diving deep into genomic testing and functional medicine with kids just like yours and mine, I can tell you that what is being called a tic disorder or even oftentimes Tourette's is often the body's SOS signal. Not a diagnosis that defines your child for life, not some mysterious brain glitch they're stuck with. It's your child's nervous system waving a big red flag, screaming, "Help! Something is wrong down here." And when we stop to actually listen, when we investigate what that SOS signal really is about, everything starts to change. Let's understand the real story. Let me explain something that completely shifted my understanding of tic disorders, and I think it's going to shift yours too. See, there's a huge difference between a label and a pattern. Tic disorders, Tourette's, body movement disorder, that is a label. It's a name we give to a collection of symptoms, the tics, the vocalizations, the repetitive movements. But a label doesn't tell us why those symptoms are happening. The pattern, that's where the gold is. That's what's actually going on in your child's body. And what we are seeing in the research, especially recent studies from places like Frontiers in Neurology and the Italian Journal of Pediatrics, is that these patterns almost always involve 3 interconnected systems. Immune dysregulation, meaning their immune system is either overactive or confused. Neural inflammation is inflammation happening in the brain itself. And neurotransmitter imbalance, those chemical messengers in the brain that are out of whack. And here's the thing that blows people's mind. These 3 things are connected by a highway system that starts in your child's gut. I know you're thinking, my kid has tics. What does that have to do with their gut? Everything. It has everything to do with it. Your child's gut is home to trillions of microorganisms. We call it the microbiome. And the microbiome is constantly communicating with the brain through what scientists call the gut-brain axis. So think of it like this. When there's chaos in the gut, maybe from bacterial overgrowth, yeast, parasites, toxins, biotoxins, or just the wrong balance of bacteria, that chaos sends inflammatory signals to the brain. And a recent research study published in 2024 shows that kids with tics and Tourette's have significant differences in their gut bacteria compared to kids without tics, specifically increased levels of certain bacteria like Bacteroidetes and Ruminococci. And when those inflammatory signals reach the brain, they activate something called microglia. These are basically the brain's immune cells. And when microglia get activated inappropriately, they can cause inflammation in an area called the striatum, which is your child's movement control center. Inflammation in the striatum disrupts dopamine signaling and can create the neurological conditions for tics to emerge. See, it's not just random, it's not just genetic, it's a pattern, a cause and effect chain that we can investigate and address. So now let's talk about that immune piece, because this is where it really gets interesting. Multiple studies, not just one, multiple studies, and I'm talking peer-reviewed research from 2020 to 2025, show that kids with Tourette's often have immune dysregulation. What does that mean practically? It means elevated inflammatory cytokine proteins like IL-6, IL-12, and TNF-alpha. These are literally inflammatory messengers circulating in their bloodstream. It means their T cells and B cells might be hyperactive, or their regulatory immune cells might not be doing their job properly. And here is what is fascinating. Swedish research found that mothers, fathers, and siblings of children with Tourette's are significantly more likely to have autoimmune disorders themselves. Mothers had a 40% increased risk, and fathers a 31% increase, and siblings a 17% increase. So if there's autoimmune disease in your family, thyroid issues, rheumatoid arthritis, psoriasis, whatever, that's another clue. It's not causing your child's tics directly, but it tells us their genetic predisposition might lean toward immune dysregulation. So let me give you a real example. And I've seen this variation dozens of times with dozens of families. So I once worked with a child, we're going to call him Mason, and Mason had been diagnosed with Tourette's when he was 5. Eye blinking, facial grimacing, throat clearing. And by the time his mom brought him to me, he was doing full body jerks. 3 different doctors, 3 different medications, nothing helped. His mom was at her wit's end, and Mason was starting to withdraw from friends because the other kids were making fun of him. Here's what we did. We ran comprehensive functional testing, and guess what we found? Severe Clostridia overgrowth in the gut, like off the chart levels, as well as biotoxin toxicity and environmental toxicity, as well as genetic predisposition to chronic aggressive inflammation. And here's why that matters. Certain species of Clostridia produce neurotoxins that can cross the blood-brain barrier and disrupt dopamine metabolism. They literally create dopamine chaos in the brain. And the toxins also impact inflammation in the body. The biotoxins are certainly going to impact the gut, the inflammation in the gut, and the gut's permeability. So what we did was address the Clostridia with targeted antimicrobials. We worked on the gut lining. We supported methylation pathways. We supported gut health. We supported detoxification. And we did all of this because a lot of his genomic variants that we tested showed he was more susceptible to these imbalances of poor detoxification and aggressive inflammation and an inability to methylate well, which all makes a huge impact on how well this child's gut, brain, and body are going to function. So within 8 weeks, Mason's tics had decreased by about 70%. And within 6 months, he was virtually tick-free. So the label didn't define him. The data did. And the data showed us exactly what we needed to address. So let me ask you something. Are you absolutely certain that your child's diagnosis is the full story? Or is there a part of you, that mama instinct, that's still asking questions? Because here's what I want to hear. Tics are never just neurological. They're neurological and immunological and metabolic and often gut related. They're a pattern, and patterns have root causes. So when we dig deeper, when we look at the genomics, when we look at the gut, when we check inflammatory markers, when we assess nutrient deficiencies and toxin exposure, we find answers, real, actionable answers that let us create targeted plans. Your child is not broken. Their body is trying to communicate. We just need to learn the language. So before you accept a lifelong label, before you resign yourself to managing symptoms, dig deeper. If you want help finding the root cause of your child's tics, I want to invite you to learn more about how my team and I at the Tic Disorder Institute use genomics and functional testing to get real answers for your family. You can click the link below in the description to schedule your free initial consultation call, and we will talk about your child's specific situation, what testing might make sense, and whether we'd be a good fit to work with. Seriously, no pressure, no judgment, just clarity. Because here's what I believe with everything in me. Every child deserves a parent who doesn't stop asking questions. A parent who trusts their instincts, and a parent who says, I know there's more to the story. So if you're watching this video right now, you're already that parent. I would love to help you find answers together. Again, everybody, I'm Dr. Piper Gibson, PhD. Thanks for being here, and I will see you in the next video.